Alright, so here's my first draft of my Mist Valley Trap Tricks deck for the October 2014 format. Rhoda went to 3, which necessitated changes to the deck, and the deck is now way better than it used to be. Comparing it to when I started playing the deck, Rhoda was at 1, just 2 formats ago. That's when I picked the deck up. The deck is insane compared to then because of how consistent it is. With 3 Rhoda plus 3 Hanzo, the majority of games you'll open up with a Hanzo play. And opening up with a Hanzo play consistently means you consistently summon Apex Avian on your opponent's first turn if you're going first, or on your opponent's second turn if you're going second. So for this profile, I'm going to be focusing mostly on the changes to the deck. If you want to see some of my explanations of some of the cards that I don't explain as much in this video, you should check out my previous build of my Mist Valley Ninja deck for the last format. I'll have the link in the description down below. Everything that I say in that video still applies here. It's just that the deck is a little bit tweaked. So once again, the main monster is Hanzo. You want to see him first turn and get him out first turn if possible. That's the ideal turn 1 play. And the main thing you go for is Apex Avian. You get your negations, and you have 3 Falcons as support for that. Getting more negations with your Apex Avian, and also gaining advantage just by attacking and bouncing your continuous cards back to your hand. My ninjas are a little bit different. I used to play 2 Sazank, but now I play 1 Upstart and 1 Sazank. So the reason I decided to do this was because I felt I might need another warrior for my Rhoda, so I don't dead draw Rhoda ever. Because I was only playing 3 warriors before, and obviously I wanted to max out Rhoda for consistency's sake. That actually has never come up so far in this format, where I needed the extra warrior for Rhoda to search. However, I am liking Upstart as a level 4 ninja that I can search. So what happens is when I special summon Hanzo, usually with Call of the Haunted, his effect activates, and I get to search for either Sazank or Upstart. So a lot of the time I'll search for Upstart, and then I can normal summon it and combine the 2 for a free rank 4. So basically, I'm using Call of the Haunted to summon a rank 4 monster. And this is obviously really good against any deck besides Shaddolls. You don't really want to do this against Shaddolls. As far as Upstart's effect goes, it's really subpar, and I have only used it a couple times. Usually I'd rather keep the trap. So drawing Upstart is pretty bad, because you want him to be in your deck to search with Hanzo. It honestly might be worth it to run that other, let's see, what's his name? Sasuke, because he's got 18 attack instead of 500 attack, and that's pretty relevant, because Upstart Golden Ninja's effect is usually not useful. It's been useful a couple times though, so I'm sticking with him for now, but it's still, I think it's questionable whether or not Upstart Golden Ninja is the ninja that you should run. I do think you should run at least 1 level 4 ninja. It's very useful. And Sazank is still probably the ninja with the best effect besides Hanzo. It's useful to be able to search this with Hanzo, and then you can set it to get rid of any problem monsters. And then the 1 Zephyros for Exceed plays and reusing continuous traps. So the 1 monster I did cut was Card D, and the reason for this was Card D was mostly there in case I didn't draw Hanzo on my first turn, but now I get to Hanzo so often that Card D is dead more often than not. If I can get a summon of a Hanzo or a Falcon, I would prefer that over Card D. So Card D was a dead card more often than not, and it was just bad. So I'm only running 10 monsters now. I find that this is enough. You get to monsters pretty easily with all your search cards, and then you can reuse them a lot. Also, if you're already set up, every monster that you draw is dead for the most part, because you're going to be using your normal summons to put falcons on the board that you just bounce back to your hand with Apex Avian. So you don't want to draw monsters, you want to draw traps. And the spells, 3 Rhoda is insane, it's pretty awesome, and that's an obvious. 3 Duality, consistency, you really need it. 1 Divine Wind to Mist Valley. So I didn't like this before because this was totally worthless unless you had Apex Avian on the field already. But with Apex Avian on the field, it's insane. And since it's a field spell and you can just activate it from your hand, it basically gives you free negation on your turn, because you can just negate anything that your opponent uses with Apex Avian, bouncing the field spell to your hand, and then you can just reset the field spell, and you didn't lose any momentum or anything. This also gives you free negate on your opponent's turn before you have to bounce Apex Avian to your hand, so it gives you a +1 in addition to the +1 that you get with Apex Avian bouncing itself. So I find that the Apex Avian is so consistent that it's worth playing this card now. It's also worth noting that if you have Apex Avian, a Falcon, and a Divine Wind on the field, if you bounce Falcon back to your hand, Divine Wind will activate, and then you get to pull another Falcon from your deck to your field, and then you have an extra Falcon in hand, and you didn't lose any board presence, negating one of your opponent's cards. So that's really awesome to do. 1 Soul Charge, I had to cut 1 because it went down to 1 on the list. This hurts a bit, but I feel like the extra Rhoda more than makes up for this. And in a lot of situations, Call of the Haunted was the better card anyways. So then 2 MST for vanities and floodgate stuff. And this deck loses badly to Royal Decree. And then I've got triple transformation. It's pretty obvious this is how your engine works. Search this with Hanzo, go into your Winged Beast monsters. Triple Call of the Haunted, this is really critical. It's good to bring back Hanzo, and it's even better to bring back Apex Avian. Triple Fiendish, effect negation is good, and the fact that this is a continuous card just makes it better. Triple Vanities, it's really good this format, and it's even better in this deck than it is in other decks. Warning and Compulse, really good this format, pretty much staples. And then I playing 1 Karma Cut and 3 Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. The Karma Cut is new. This deck has major problems with BLS. It almost always just loses when your opponent has BLS, because it can attack over Apex Avian without using an effect, and that just destroys your entire setup. You can have the best setup in the world, and if you don't have a trap to stop the BLS, then you just lose. This is especially problematic against Shaddolls, because you can recover if you make an Exceed monster like a Castel or an Honor Arc, but that leaves you vulnerable to Shadow Fusion, because you won't have your Apex Avian on the field anymore to negate it. So I wanted to add a Bottomless to my deck to try to counter BLS, but then I realized Karma Cut is just better than Bottomless if you ignore the discard, and I want to have discard traps to discard my Apex Avian, put it in the grave for the Call of the Haunted. So I'm playing Karma Cut for now. So far, having 4 discard cards has not been too much, so I'm liking the Karma Cut right now. And then I'm playing 2 Wiretap. I kind of wish I was main decking 3 Wiretaps, but there's not really very much room. I don't know what I would cut for that. It's really good against effect negation like Breakthrough Skill. So side deck tweaked a little bit from last format. I'm playing 1 DD Warrior Lady. The main reason I have this is because against Shaddolls, I'm siding out Upstart because it's pretty useless against that deck. I'm also siding out Sephiroth because I'm siding in my cards that don't work with Sephiroth. And so I really need more monsters. I can't only have 8 monsters in my deck. And this is searchable with Rhoda, and it's an out to a lot of monsters, which is pretty handy to have. I like just the one as a side deck because it is searchable. And then 1 Typhoon and 1 Wiretap. Sometimes you need the MST against hate cards like Decree. And then Wiretap I like because a lot of decks side in Malevolent Catastrophe or Full House games 2 and 3, and those cause a lot of problems. If they resolve, this deck pretty much loses. So you need Wiretap or Apex Avian to negate that. And then 2 Full House, I'm playing it myself. It's really nuts in this deck. You play this against anything that uses continuous spell or trap cards because it totally destroys them. This is even good against decks that don't use continuous cards because you can target your own face-up cards, and this deck has a lot of extras that just float on the field. So you can use this as a way to basically just destroy 3 of your opponent's set cards, which is really good. And then I'm playing 1 Torrential and 1 Bottomless. For any rogue decks that come up, these are both really good against those. And then my new addition, 2 Magic Cylinder. This is a card for in time. If you're going to time, this deck can sometimes struggle to get damage through because the small monster count. And so I need a way to help make this deck better in time, and Magic Cylinder is a really good card for that because I'm able to use my opponent's monsters to attack themselves, essentially. So this card at the same time stops an opponent's attack and does damage to my opponent. So it's really crazy in time, and I just watch the clock when I'm playing this deck. If there's like 5 minutes or less, I know that we're going to go into time, so I'll side this in, and then if I draw it, that's excellent. And then I'm playing 6 lockdown cards, so pretty obvious these going against Shaddolls, Burning Abyss. Same thing with these 2, and then this is Satellar Knights, and obviously these all hit a bunch of rogue decks as well. And then rank 4s, pretty obvious. I don't really need to explain any of these. You don't need the extra deck at all, but you do use it a lot more than you used to now that you have the upstart in here. It makes it a lot easier to go into rank 4s. And this is helpful against any decks besides Shaddolls. The one new addition is Excalibur, because I can actually make it consistently now that I'm playing Upstart. This is just a 4,000 attack monster, which is obviously good. I've yet to make it, so the only ones I've made so far this format are Castel, Karen Gorgon, and I think that actually might be it so far for this format. You don't really make extract monsters very often unless you have the Upstart, and those 2 are considerably more useful than the other ones for the most part. So you make those 2 a lot. I should probably switch the order because I have them ranked in terms of how often I use them. So never used before, so he's down at the bottom. So let's save that. So that's my update to my Mist Valley Ninja build. This is going to be, once again, my main deck for this format, and I'll be taking this to regionals once that comes up, though my build will probably be different by then. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to check out some of my other stuff.